Hello again, everybody. Doing here from DRFX Forex and Trading. Well, the projection on the Canadian Swiss franc that we did yesterday on a 4-hour chart, which was this, as you will recall from the analysis, is playing out exactly as we predicted today. Here you can see that the market broke this counter trend line and has now allowed us to be able to join these two support points and draw the uptrend line. So this is exactly what we had predicted yesterday, and this is exactly what the market has done in terms of presenting us with a bullish signal. So for those persons who trade more aggressively on the smaller time frames, you would have been able to enter on the smaller time frames on a 30-minute chart or a 1-hour chart, or maybe even a 50-minute chart, to have taken advantage of this expected breakout that took place. So in sync with what we were predicting, the daily chart is moving higher and appears to be moving towards this area here to complete the formation of the second resistance point, to then U-turn and head back down to support to essentially complete the formation of the consolidation. As I said yesterday, entering now or even trading at this area here. Well, as you can see, the bullish candle given on the 4-hour chart is a normal signal, and under normal circumstances in a different scenario we would trade this, but because it is close to where we expect the market to form a resistance point, it's gonna be too risky to trade in this direction. So even though the market is offering potentially between 72.45 and 73.14, approximately 70 pips in terms of in potential gains, that will be too small a number to risk, given the potential start of selling and short positions being open at this area here. Another reason is that entering at this area at the close of this bull candle would require a stop loss to be placed below the low of this U-turn. Even if you were to place it at just below the trend line, you're talking about a stop loss of 140, close to 150 pips, which is much higher than we use when it comes to trading the 4-hour chart. So for those reasons, trading this bull signal will be too risky, given the potential of what is likely to take place at this area here. Now, in terms of the pattern that we can expect to see the market produce at this area here, assuming that the market is going to give us a daily signal that gives us a U-turn at this area here, the 4-hour chart is likely to exhibit behavior similar to what took place at this area here. We could start to see the market move sideways with a lot of weak candles, tweezer tops and tweezer bottoms, as it forms a consolidation setup similar to the one that was formed at this area. Alternatively, we could actually see the market simply break the trend line without moving sideways for a very long time. So we could actually have a breakout similar to this that took place here with this trend line. We could also see the market produce double tops, ABC signals, and as I said before, consolidation breakouts at this area. Once the 4-hour chart has formed a setup and given a strong signal, it is likely that that setup and that signal will lead to the formation of the daily candle signal. So the 4-hour chart will provide the setup and the signal that would give us the daily signal, but of course we have to wait until that daily signal is given in order to then trade the setups and signals that will take place along the way as the market heads lower. So that is what we would wait on at this area. We are going to expect the market to produce a strong signal here, and it is going to be tempting for traders to actually enter once we get a strong signal on the 4-hour chart, without waiting until the daily chart produces a signal. But the risk of doing that is that you end up trading a signal that actually is taken out as the market forms another type of setup. So for example, if you are to trade and see, if you are to see a strong ABC signal, that breaks the trend line, you could decide that you want to enter here without waiting until the daily chart confirms it with a signal. That can work on some in some instances, but what you'll find is that the market can form as long as the daily chart has not given us a signal in sync or together with the 4-hour chart. You run the risk of the market reversing and taking out that setup and that signal to then form another setup, such as a consolidation. So in other words, the setups and the signals on the 4-hour chart are not enough. Once the setup and the overall setup on the currency pair requires a daily chart signal. So once we need the daily chart to give us confirmation that it is time to move in the expected direction, we have to wait until that signal is given before we trade anything on the 4-hour chart. So just to summarize, this movement that has taken place here, bullish, is exactly as we had predicted in the last video, where we basically expected the market to form this trend line before it starts a U-turn and head towards support once again. This is one of the dynamics that take place across the currency market and across all time frames when it comes to the formation of consolidation. So this was the expected movement, and this is exactly what we got with this break of this counter trend line. From here, the market is expected to actually U-turn, assuming that we are gonna get the completion of this consolidation. Based on the patterns and the signals that have been formed so far, we're gonna have to wait until the market gives us a daily signal before we start trading short. As the market gets ready to give us that signal on the daily chart, the 4-hour chart will begin to slow down and reflect the buildup of short positions at this area. This is going to be reflected in possible formation of sideways movements and consolidation setups, and this is going to eventually lead to the formation of a setup and a signal that leads to the daily candle signal. Once the daily candle signal is given, then we can move to the 4-hour chart and trade that setup and signal that led to that daily chart signal, or trade follow-up 4-hour setups and signals that will be created along the way. So that's it for the Canadian Swiss franc. Let's wait until the market provides us with a setup and a signal.